Well, good morning everybody. Hope everybody had a very nice and relaxing weekend. I know I did. Spent no time at all by the charts. Feeling nice and refreshed this morning. Good morning to everybody. Peter, Sarah, Mikkel, Marcus, good morning to you. Only got a few people logged in this morning, so I'll just run through a couple of things first of all. Just to let you know, this is YouTube Live and there is typically around a 10 to 15 second delay. So if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat and I will answer them soon as I get around to them. And the purpose of this room is to review the opportunities that meet the rules outlined in the educational material at freeforex.education.co.uk. So just give me a yes if you can all hear me and see the charts nice and clearly. And if you did anything special over the weekend, just let me know. If you did any back testing, if you just relaxed, if you went away for the weekend. I know in the UK you've had some brilliant weather. Although, was it not raining the other day? I heard it was raining. That's what happens in the UK. It gets so hot it just rains. Just rains. But not where I am. It just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. If you do have any currency pairs that you would like me to take a look at as well, please let me know. I don't have a great deal on the radar, so I'm just simply going to go through my portfolio and we will see what opportunities there are from the higher time frame down to the lower time frame. Jamie, morning to you. Morning. So if there are no questions, I'm going to start it off with the Aussie dollar CAD. And take a look at this. I had to reset my computer over the weekend. That's what I had to do, and now Firefox has decided to just be different to the way it was, and I don't like it, so I'm going to have to look into that afterwards. So Aussie dollar CAD, the last webinar that we did, because these charts haven't changed since the last webinar, not too much has happened. We had that breakout pattern, we had the trend continuation, and right now we've double bottomed down here, so I wouldn't be looking for trend continuation. But let's go and look at the daily time frame. Structure level on at our very lows just down here. And we've spoken about this for some time, that we do have a confirmed break below, close below. However, what we then did was break to the upside. And I did talk through this, what some people may have thought was a valid head and shoulders, and I said, well, as per my rules, this isn't valid because head and shoulders, we need to hold structure. And even though we violated here to the upside and we violated this level of structure, which is the outside return, we'd violated to the downside as well. So that just simply put us in consolidation and it invalidated this very nice looking head and shoulders with an initial structure high, but we violated structure. And that's the reason why we have that rule for head and shoulders, is that we must hold structure. My trading is structure based, so therefore we must hold structure, and we didn't. So we've now come down to, we're on our way down to this area. In fact, we are down at that area right now. So if you wanted to look for a small counter trend move, you could do, but I'd be very cautious at where we'd be playing for targets for. Let's go and take a look at the 240. On the 240, you would have to reduce this price reversal zone down to this point. So from the closes of the candles to the wicks. And you can see that we have not actually made it into that zone. Now what we do have is, if it's valid for you, there is a cipher pattern here. So X to A to B, B to C. Do that again, B to C. CD completion was around here at this 786. And we've actually come down to an 886. Nothing here for me though. I would have to wait for price to come into this price reversal zone just here and give me a reason to buy the market up. Let's go and take a quick look at the 60. On the 60, I'm just going to remove this fib, keep the chart clear. On the 60, okay, I'm going to put a structure level on just here, because we know that on the 15 this is a double bottom, and we have got a confirmed break above, close above, and a pullback for a 2618. I'm just looking at what structure we have within that structure level. seeing, because that has double bottomed and it is a confirmed double bottom, is there any structure at that point? And I'm going quite historical here, and there's nothing. So there's absolutely nothing there. Let's drop down to the 15, and you'll then be able to see that double bottom that's occurred. So we had the move lower. Okay, wrong shortcut. We had the move lower, the pullback, the move lower. Is this valid? Yeah, it is. Okay. Then we had the move higher, a confirmed break above, close above, and then it looks like we're pulling back for a 26.18 trade here. So we're close to that 61.8 fib. The problem for me is that we did not come into our price reversal zone. So even though this is a confirmed double bottom, it's not happened at structure. As you can see here on the 15, we haven't come down into this price reversal zone, and it's not going to be a setup that I can take. If it is valid for you though, then targets for you are going to be that 382. So you're looking around this much risk for around this much reward, but for me it is not valid. Anybody looking at anything on the Aussie dollar CAD other than this cipher? That's all I have, I'm afraid. It's not too much on this currency pair. If there are no questions, I will move on to the next one, and we will take a look at the Aussie dollar. And again, we'll take a quick look at what we were looking at on the last webinar. Okay, we were looking for a retest at this level, weren't we? And we were saying that targets could be this level or this level, and we never got it. Instead, we just blew straight through. So let's do the higher time frame analysis. Here on the dailies, we had a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, and now we've seen a pullback. So we also spoke about this, didn't we? The fact that we only just made a new high, and that we could see quite a deep retracement, and that's exactly what we've done. Even though this is a 3-point move and we're in trend bullishly, we've now pulled right back to these lows just here. In fact, I think we've actually closed below them now. Yes, we have. So we've now actually got a confirmed break below, close below. So there really isn't a great deal here. We violated to the downside, we violated to the upside, we violated this internal level structure. There just is not a great deal here for me. There's no RSI confirmation, we're not oversold, we're not overbought. We are at a psychological number. Well, in fact, we're not actually. We haven't yet come down to that psychological number. There's nothing here for me, guys. Nothing here. Let's go and take a look at the 240. Okay. Can anybody tell me? We've only got a few people in the room, but we'll see how talkative you guys are. We've got a very directional move here. We know that we've just violated the very lows of structure. And if we look left, we do have this internal level just here. In fact, this is going to ruin what I was going to say. So we've got this internal level. And what I was going to say was that we've got sideways movement here, and this could be a sign of trend continuation. And it very well could be, but we are at this small internal level of structure just here. You can see we've got a little bit here as well. So if this is something like a low and tight flag, we maybe want to be a little bit cautious if we're looking at shorting the market here. And in actual fact, this is not going to be valid for me. So the bottom is valid. However, the top is this highest point. And we're going to need another test up to this level. So that'll give us 1, 2, 3, and this would be the 4th test up here. A few concerns I have is that I don't know where the start of the pole is. Could be just this area here, or it could be further back. It could be actually this main swing up here. And we are very close to that 6,900 psychological number just here, and looking left, as mentioned, we are at this minor level of structure as well. So not really a setup that I'm interested in, although we are moving very directionally. Is this going to be a setup that meets anybody's rules? I mean, it's not a bad setup, to be honest with you. We are moving very directionally, and we are in trend here. As you can see, we're moving very nicely. This is where we tend to see these low and tight flags. But they're my concerns: psychological number and a small amount of structure. So nothing here on the Aussie dollar. Sorry about that, guys. Let's move that out of the way then. Let's go and take a look at the next one, which is going to be the Euro Aussie. Too much of a punt even for me, Pete says. Yeah. Okay, Euro Aussie. Okay, this was the big head and shoulders that we're still looking at shorting, but there was nothing recently, so let's do the higher time frame on this one. Euro Aussie head and shoulders. So move higher, pull back, move higher, and then I'm going to take it from this level. This was the swing. We saw a pullback, and we know that these have the highest probability of hitting an AB equals CD pattern rather than playing for structure lows. And as you can see, we have actually fallen short. Now we have hit, though, a psychological number, 15900, but does it come in at any real form of structure? Well, we have this internal level just here, and yeah, we do have this just here as well, and this was actually valid as well. So if I was looking for shorts, it would have to be a lower low, lower close within this level on the dailies, and I don't trade on the dailies, so it would have to be based on the 240, or I could look for a rotation pattern in the wicks just at this point. And if we look at the 240, we also spoke about my concern on this is that here on the 240, this was the move lower, this was the pullback, this was the move lower again, then we triple bottomed, and we also then violated this level of structure. So if we were to get involved in the completion of the AB equals CD pattern on the dailies, then really here on the 240 we need to be as conservative as possible, because we triple bottomed down here and we also violated the trend. The trend was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we violated. So really I would only be looking up here, and it would be within this smaller kill zone for a rotation pattern. And even then I'm probably going to be conservative with targets, maybe a retest of this level for target ones, or maybe even this level and then the extension. So even though this looks very good on the dailies, unfortunately the 240 has really ruined this for me. This triple bottom, this outside return was violated. If anything, you could now be looking for a head and shoulders the other way. You could be looking for a pullback here, and then be looking at an AB equals CD pattern here, and playing for a retest of this level. That is a possibility, and we will simply be looking for rotation patterns in this zone, or a rotation pattern just down here. Let's take a look at the 60. On the 60, there is nothing here for me either. This rally here makes this ugly for me. Makes it very ugly. We'll take a look at the 15. If you've got anything in the Euro Aussie, guys, just let me know. But this is just Monday morning junk to me, or Friday afternoon junk. Monday morning review of it. So really just waiting on this one, waiting for the 240, either for a move higher or a pullback, one or the other. If there's no questions on the Euro Aussie, we will just move that one to the side, and the next one is going to be the Euro Yen. Okay, Euro Yen. We were looking at a potential flag pattern on this. It's not forming the way I'd like to see, so this may not be valid, but we'll take a look at it. That was on the 60. However, on the higher time frame, we still do have this very big flag pattern. So we've got our move lower. And we've got this flag pattern which has failed to hit targets. Again, we've seen it before. We saw it with the pound yen. When the trade is this big, we typically don't just see one candle that rallies all the way there. We've seen a clear breakout of our trend line and a breakout of the low of the pole just here, and we're seeing a little bit of a pullback. Now, we didn't quite get up to test the pole. However, we did come up to test the wicks just here. But I would still like to see another pop to the upside here and actually see this trend line tested. And let's drop down to the 240 and take a look. And what we've done here, guys, is this structure level just here. We've come right into the structure level, so let's draw this out. I move lower, a pull back, a 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 move lower. Retest down here, and then we saw the move back up. And because of this wick, we would need now a confirmed break above close above this level before we come up to test this trend line structure just here. So mixed bag here, isn't there? We're high time frame looking short, lower time frame I would really like to see us violate this level of structure and come up to this trend line. Stuart has put, what is your reason why you would wait for the retest of the trend line? Just for the simple fact that that's typically what we do on these patterns. When we break out, we tend to come back and retest structure. And that's the same with anything. When we're looking at trend, we typically go and retest structure. Let me find a trend if there is one here. Okay, let's just drop back down to the 60. So as you can see here, we had a move lower, we pull back, a move lower, we pull back into structure, we had a move lower, we pull back into structure, we had a move lower, we pull back into structure. And really that's what I would be waiting for, is I would like to see a pullback into structure. Now this is trend line structure, but what we have seen is a pullback into this 240 structure level. So as I say, a mixed bag here really. This here on the 240 is the area that I'd look for shorts, but just based on the dailies, we typically come back to retest the trend line structure, and that is not something we've done. So I would like to see a move up to this area. We do have as well that 120-200 psychological number, and we could then maybe get stops behind this higher structure level just here. So that's what I'd like to see. It may not happen. Let's take a look at the 60 on this. And I know that we were looking at this swing in the market, this directional move. Here on the 60, we do have a confirmed break above close above this structure level just here. But if we draw this out as though this is a valid flag pattern, we would need to draw it out on the closes of the candles like that. Then we duplicate it to move it down. We've got 1, 2, 3, and you'd be waiting for a fourth test down here. So my concerns on this is that on the 240, which is the higher time frame, we don't have any confirmation we can go higher. And here on the 60, this would be quite a deep retracement. This would retrace down to at least a 61.8 fib. And just like trend, we're looking for big extensions, small retracements, big extensions. However, if we start seeing deeper retracements, so look at what we've done here, we've got our extension and we're seeing a deeper retracement, then that's going to show to me that there's a lower probability of us violating this structure level. So if this does turn out to be a valid opportunity, I'm going to be more cautious with this. Targets, a retest of the high here, not that 127 extension. Also, if you want to be more cautious, wait for a retest or wait for a breakout of the trend line, maybe then a pullback for a 26.18. So it's just, at the moment, this is not forming the way that I would like to see a flag pattern. Usually we would have nice moves, so a move from one side to the other, one side to the other, one side to the other, and we're not doing that, are we? We're just hugging this upper trend line. So this is one that we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with it. If we take a look at the 15, there's just nothing here for me. Nothing here for me on the euro yen. Maybe this afternoon or tomorrow, guys. Any questions on that trade or on that currency pair even? Nope. Let's go and take a look at the euro dollar. Euro dollar. I deleted before the workings out by mistake, but I'll run through what we talked through in the last webinar. And that was that we had the move lower. We saw a low and tight flag here, and then we had another move lower, and we were down in this structure level just here, which had been tested 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm actually going to drop down to the 240 here, guys. Hey, welcome, Cody. Hope you had a good weekend. And in the last webinar, we spoke about this being tested 3 times, and there was a high probability that we were going to see a retest of this lower structure level, and we could see a bounce. And we did have drawn on 3 areas. We had 1. And pretty much everybody picked that as the main level that they would take. The second level was just up here. That would be 2. And was the third one a 382? I think it was, wasn't it? The third one that we spoke about was a potential 382. And when we spoke about what we would go for targets, pretty much everybody picked this lower structure level, and we were looking for a rotation pattern down here, if you remember, guys. Now, we never got the rotation pattern, but the trade played out. We came down, we got the bounce right up into the level where we'd look at taking targets. So even though this was not a trade that we could get involved with, this is all part of learning, is looking at trading opportunities that meet the rules, or at least looking at opportunities where we think we're going to see a reaction, because that's all we're looking for, isn't it, guys? We're just looking for an area where we think we're going to see a reaction. We're then looking for a strategy that we've tested, like a double bottom or a head and shoulders, and we're looking that it meets the rules. And then we need to know where stops go, and then we need to know where target goes. And everything played out here, apart from the fact that it didn't meet the rule for the strategy. But the stop would have been correct, because we would have got an ATR below the low. The target was correct. It was just the entry, which was the strategy. So this is the type of thing where we look and we just say, well done, we were correct with the move. We got the reaction we were looking for. Unfortunately, it didn't provide us any type of entry. Just reading what you guys have put. Okay, so let's go and take a look at the 60 then. Not a great deal here. Not a great deal here. The move has already happened, and we have not yet violated this lower level of structure. So for me, this is just consolidation. There is nothing setting up here now. We will delete that off and go to the 15. Has anybody got anything on the euro dollar? Haven't really had anything on this for quite a while now. It's not even any advanced patterns, so just consolidation here for me. We'll take a look at the 5. But it's Monday, the ATR is low, and there's probably not going to be enough room for anything on the 5 on this currency pair. You can tell there's no movement when we start seeing this. We just start seeing, I don't even know what these are called. They're not even dojis, are they? They're just we open and close at exactly the same spot. So just no movement here. There's nothing I'm interested in at all. So yeah, I'm waiting for a violation of these lows or a pop to the upside. There's still nothing, even if we do pop to the upside on that one. So I will move the euro dollar out the way. We're going through these pairs quite fast, but then again, it is Monday after all. We will bring over the pound Aussie. Well done, Stuart. 2 years away on the euro dollar to finish 10 years backtesting. What time frame? Or have you done all of them? Backtesting takes such a long time. Here on the pound Aussie, we talked briefly about it could be a rotation pattern here. We could see a head and shoulders, but you'd be limited as to where you could take targets. And it didn't come off, so we will just delete that. It does mean that we can talk about our big AB equals CD pattern again. And the problem about higher time frame patterns is that they take a long time to play out. And we will talk through this big AB equals CD pattern again because it has not hit targets. So there is the AB equals CD pattern. Here is the structure level where we would look for the rotation. And if I zoom in, what concerns me at the moment is that this is loss of momentum. So we had a big bullish candle, we had an inverted hammer, loss of momentum, we had a doji, and it's only early today, but it does look as though we are pushing lower. And that happened in this structure level. So we could be seeing a move down to this structure level down here. And I'm going to put a fib on from our swing high to swing low, which is going to be our projected targets. AB equals CD patterns is a fib-based target. So we want, so it's a fibs-based pattern, so we want fibs-based targets. So we will drop down to the 240. So Stuart says 60-minute higher, 15-minute lower. Okay, that's an awful lot of backtesting you've done then, Stuart. 10 years on the 60-minute, also checking the 15 as your entry. Lots and lots of hours, lots and lots of chart time. So what we then had was just here, we had our triple bottom, quadruple bottom should I say. We couldn't get involved long here because it was 150 pips of risk, but we've now violated to the upside. We violated quite deeply as well, and if we were to look for a 2618 trade, well, that would bring us down into the wicks just down here. I'd actually be looking for a deeper retracement here. So this is not going to be something aggressive I take. I'm going to wait for price to come into this area and give me a conservative entry. I need a conservative entry anyway due to the risk. So if we entered into say here and stop went an ATR below the low, it's 170 pips. So I'm going to need a conservative entry, so a rotation pattern basically. And I'm going to be looking within this price reversal zone just down here. We're going to drop down to the 60 and see if there's anything that could be setting up to give us an indication that we could buy the market. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. I've got nothing here at the moment. So there's no advanced patterns. So I was looking at a potential cipher pattern just here, X to A to B, but it's not valid. But we could have looked at that as the entry to get long. That isn't going to happen. There's no back pattern or Gartley. There's no butterfly pattern here. What we could see is an AB equals CD pattern. coming down into this area, and that might give us some more confirmation that we could see a rotation. We could even then add a double bottom or a head and shoulders. Anything on the pound Aussie, guys? I'll take a look at the 15. 3 months it took you. Yeah. My neck and hands were killing after I did all my back testing. Oh, horrendous. I did my back testing multiple times as well. Multiple times. Jamie says he's waiting for a pullback to 178 and a retest of the descending trend line. Waiting for a pull back to 178. Okay, 178 flat. There. Yep, I can see that, Jamie. So what you've done is you've looked at this, you've had the move higher, the pullback, the move higher, starting to see loss of momentum, then you violated to the downside, you're looking for a pullback, and then a shorting reason up here, and then looking for that psychological number just in front of this structure level. Yep, I can see that. You may even have something here on the 15. Now there wouldn't be anything here on the 15. The only area I'd look at shorting would be this level just here. So you might be looking at shorting the market here. What Jamie's looking short. Anything else on the pound Aussie, guys? If not, I will put that one to the side as well. And we'll take a look at the pound yen. Okay, what we were looking at on the pound yen, looks like we were looking at something up here. Let's drop to the 15, and what was we looking at? We were looking at, yeah, it was a flag pattern. I think we already discussed this, didn't we? I just didn't delete it. This was a valid flag pattern on the 5 or 15, so I'll just delete that. Let's go and take a look at the dailies. So on the dailies, we are still in trend, so we had the move lower, the pullback, the move lower, the pullback, the move lower, the pullback. This was our outside return, but we did say we want to pay close attention to this internal level of structure, and what we did was we put in a lower, lower, lower close, and we've now pushed down into our lows at this level. So really I'd be waiting for another push lower, another confirmed break below, close below. Ideally I'd like to see a bit of a longer extension here, and then a pullback into the wicks just here, and then a shorting opportunity. That's what I'd like to see. We are still within this big wick area, of course. I would also like us to see a violation of the 13300, that psychological number. Let's go and take a look at the 240. 240 then, what a shame, this is now hit targets. Okay, we were looking at this flag pattern, and it's hit targets without us. So if we duplicate this, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. We spoke about this high test candle and how it was unlikely that we were going to violate that level. Your entry for me would have been a red candle, so it would have been this right here. This was quite a large amount of risk, but it was still a good opportunity if you got involved. So the way I would have handled this was I would have needed to have gone an ATR above the high, so that would have taken you at 35. I would have gone 20 pips above that psychological number, and then targets would have been a retest of that lower structure level, and I think we said just above that psychological number, didn't we? So this would have been a risk of 96 for 116. Did anybody take this trade? This was a good opportunity. I wanted a better reward to risk than that for such a big amount of risk. But if you took it, I mean, well done. This was a beautiful trade. Look, breakout pattern as well. all red candles. We broke out of the channel. Higher time frame though, so we don't typically just see one candle. We tend to see quite a directional move, but you know, it's not just one candle. And we've now hit those targets. For me, I would not be looking at any type of extension here. So if you're still in this, for me personally, I would be out. But if you took this, just give me a yes, and I'll give you a well done. I'll give you a shout out. But unfortunately, that one got away from us. Let's take a look at the 15. I don't think there's going to be anything here. No. Here on the 15, we're down at structure. We're down in this level, so there's going to be nothing here for me. We'll take a look at the 5. Nope, nothing here for me either. So this is going to be one where I'm going to have to wait now. I'm going to have to wait for that lower structure level to be violated on the dailies, and then look for a pullback. Do you have anything, guys, on the pound yen? There's going to be nothing on that for me now. Well done, by the way, for the Euro New Zealand, you guys that took it. Congratulations. The Euro Swissy is not looking too good, unfortunately. We had the breakout to the right side, and we just pulled back now, looking like we're going to be stopped out. We may as well then take a look at the pound dollar. The pound dollar that went on to hit our targets after stopping us out. Let's have a look. Yeah, we'll just do the high time frame analysis on this. It was a tough week last week, guys, I've got to admit. Did anybody watch the weekly statistical review that I did? Pretty much everybody did better than I did, because I never got filled on the pound Aussie. But there was, if you watched it, there was 4 key trades last week which either hit targets and just stopped us out, but then went on to hit targets. And we spoke about the pound dollar. 7 pips from target stopped us out because of Boris, then went on to win 2 days later. The pound yen stopped us out by 3 pips and then hit for 50. Pound Aussie, pretty much everybody got filled apart from me and Pete. And that was break even for me, and it hit for 50. And then we had the Euro, I don't know what it was, the Euro Swissy or something. Lost for 16 to the pip, turned around and hit targets. And those 4 trades came to 280 pips. And we would have finished, and I don't like saying we would have or should have or could have done. How we finished was how we finished last week. But those 4 trades that just stopped us out, that went on to win, would have left us in profit of 50 pips for the week. And it's just amazing how just, you know, not even off, it was just the market that just tapped us out ever so slightly in all of them, and made for a terrible, terrible week of trading. And that's the way it goes. So pound dollar though, pound dollar would now be looking for shorts. This is our lowest structure level just here, and we haven't yet had a confirmed break below, close below this structure level, though we are pushing lower, and I would anticipate us to see a move down to this level. So there could be an awful lot of pips up for grabs here. We'd go and take a look at the 240. We have already had the breakout. We've already had the breakout. And what I love about this is we had the move lower, the pullback, the move lower, the pullback, then we broke out. What I love is how we broke out. Can you see here, guys? We broke out with a lot of force here on the 240. And we have now gone oversold, so we could look for a little bit of relief. And the thing with long extensions like this is that we tend to see small pullbacks, and we could be looking for that pullback then into the wicks just here. And if we throw a fib on, that just so happens to come into a 382 fib. Not only that, but you have this level of structure, but you also have this key level right here. So we've got two levels of structure. One is absolutely key. This was a wick that just tapped this area and instantly rejected. We've got this area right here. We've got a 382 fib. We've got a directional move which violated this structure level. And what else have we got here, guys? Looking where the arrow is. You know, I love them, particularly on the pound pairs. The great areas to put stops behind, great areas to take targets. What is it? The 1/2400 psychological number. So this is going to be a key area for me where I can look at shorting the market. So a retest of the lows. There's around 70 pips up for grabs there, and potentially there is room to the downside. Just give me a yes if you can still hear me, guys. My YouTube seems to have frozen. I'm just going to refresh it. Okay, the chart's updated. Just give me a yes if you can still hear me. Yeah, you can. Okay, good, lovely. So guys, anybody else looking at shorting the pound dollar? So what we can look for is, we can look for a few things. We can drop down to the 60 and we can look for rotation patterns up in this price reversal zone. We can we're going to say we can look for an advanced pattern, but I don't think we have one. There is, it may add to your confluence, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion. There is a butterfly pattern just here. That's now hit the 127. That could give us the boost that we need up to our price reversal zone. What does that also mean, guys? What is it very likely that we're going to do if we have an advanced pattern here? These butterflies work the same as bats, ciphers, gartleys, and there's a target that we play for these. And it's the same with butterflies, and it means that there's a higher probability that we're going to come up here and test that 382 fib. Does everybody agree? In fact, I've not got that in the right place. That needs to be up there. Well, there we go. Let me just go back to the 240 a second. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a conflict here now. This butterfly pattern typically comes up to hit the 382. Now that 382, it's not positioned correctly, is 11 pips above our psychological number and is just beyond our price reversal zone. So several things could happen here. We could push all the way up to this level. We could spike through it and we could see something like a long test candle, and we could actually hold this structure level. That would be great to see, because that would be an indication that we're holding this structure level but also hit targets on the butterfly. Let's go to the 60. Butterflies as well, how do I word this? Sometimes don't always hit the 382. Sometimes they do fall a little bit short. So it's just something that we want to bear in mind. So really, we're just going to have to wait and see on this one. There's nothing setting up now. There's no other advanced pattern. There's nothing like this that we can get involved with. Let's take a look at the 15. No, there's just nothing here. So really just waiting for the pullback. And I'll keep that on and we'll see if we can get something like a high test candle here that hits the 382 and a nice rejection candle, and then drop down to the lower time frames and see if it gives us anything. repeat, fundamentally, yep, the pound is weak right now. Yeah, certainly is. Certainly is. And the way things are looking, we're just going to continue lower. So I've got nothing then on the pound dollar other than that, and that's not going to be till tonight, maybe even tomorrow. Let's take a look at the New Zealand yen. We've only got a few currency pairs to go through, guys, so we won't bother taking a break. We'll just crack on with this. And we did speak about this on the New Zealand yen. We had to move up to this level. We failed to violate it. We said that we could now see a move down to this level, which is what we've done. But we've got no clear read here on the trend because we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback. Then we made a move lower, and then we violated to the upside. And then we failed to go any higher. So this is now just consolidation. So if you're looking at anything here on the New Zealand yen, you'd only be looking for a small move higher. Let's take a look at the 240. From memory, we were in trend on the 15 minute and we were looking for a move lower anyway. Let's take a look at the 60. It may have been the 60 that the trend was on. Move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back. There's your move lower, pull back, another move lower, and another pull back. Let's go and look at it on the 15. It's very ugly, but if you believe price can come lower, you're going to be waiting for another 618 to be tested, and you could look at the Gartley pattern for an entry and look at playing it down to retest this structure level just here. Then we go back to the 240 and have another look at this. Yeah, I do believe price can come lower because this is the lowest close of the candles just down here. However, you do want to be a little bit cautious because we are within the wicks up in this level, and yeah, it still does look as though price can come a little lower, though we are really nearing the end as to how far price can actually come. But yeah, you could actually use the Gartley pattern there as your entry. Stops going ATR above the high. Whenever I use advanced patterns, I always go 1.5 ATRs. Okay, the ATR is 3, so you're going to have to go a lot more than 4.5 pips. You're going to have to go up to here, up to 20. So potential amount of risk there, and your reward is something like that. But you do need this this pattern to be valid. We haven't as yet come down to have we hit the 618? We may have done. We may have come down and hit that 618. Yes, we have. Okay, so this this pattern is actually valid. Okay, your entry would be a 127 extension up to this point. Look at that, almost to the nose. And we've gone 6 pips above the high here. Yeah, it's 2 ATRs. Okay, so the risk on this trade would be 8. The reward 23. I would personally increase this and make it a full 10 pips of risk. You do also want to front run by a pip. So it would be 11 or 12 pips of risk for a potential reward of 22. So yeah, as long as this Gartley pattern, the C leg here, does not come down to retest the B point sorry, the A leg just here, it would be valid. Can anybody tell me why it would not be valid if price just here came down to retest the A leg? Why it would not be valid for trend continuation? Anybody know the reason? Because it's valid at the moment, but why would it not be valid? Euro swish is stopped out. Lovely. We had the breakout there as well, Pete, didn't we? We broke to the upside, we pulled back, and we just failed to continue. That's still one where we can look at that big falling channel. We can still look at getting long on that one. A retest of structure, exactly. Yeah, Stuart's got it. It's a retest of structure, and that would invalidate trend continuation, just like a double bottom would, or a head and shoulders. We no longer look for trend continuation because it's a clear sign that we didn't violate this level and we're retesting it. Whereas this is not. You could even look for an AB equals CD pattern here as well, coming up to that zone. So yeah, valid opportunity there on the New Zealand yen for a Gartley pattern short. Make a note of that. New Zealand yen, Gartley 15-minute short. Anything else? Marcus says it's not valid on his data. Just going to redraw this out. Okay, we do hit 618. Let's measure this out correctly then. We'll make sure, because it is very close, that we did come down and hit the 618. And there we go, Marcus is correct. We've actually fallen a little bit short. Let's bring over data box. There it is. And we came down to, the lows were 71.96. Well, look at that. This is one of those instances where visually it did not hit, but the data box shows that it did. So as you can see here, we actually fell short of that 61.8, but if you hover over the candle, the very low 72.10. Come on, update. Okay, the very low 71.96 shows it hit, and this one as well, 71.96. So this is one of those situations that the data box shows you that it's valid, but here visually it looks as though we fell short by quarter or half of a pip. So if you want to be cautious, wait, just simply wait to see if price pushes lower and does hit that 61.8. That's my recommendation, and that's what I'm going to do. Just going to wait and see if we push lower. Okay guys, that's the New Zealand yen, New Zealand dollar. Looks like we spoke about a low and tight flag on the last webinar. Well done for anybody that took it, and you've well and truly hit your targets now, so well done on that. Let's go over to the dailies. Okay, very similar this to, what's the other one we were looking at? Sorry guys, I've just closed everything by mistake. 1 second. Okay, George told me that if I end up closing all my tabs by mistake, if I shake from left to right, it'll bring everything back. It's not working. Oh no. Right. Manually reload them all. Give me a second, guys. Euro yen. Aussie dollar. Okay, I am missing one. There is. Okay. So New Zealand dollar, I can't remember what currency pair it's like, but this is one where we had the move higher, the pullback, we had the move higher again. We have made a slightly longer extension here, but we are once again seeing quite a bearish run here, and this is quite a steep run. So if you are looking for trend continuation, you want to be cautious. Maybe only look for a retest of this this left shoulder just here. Let's go and take a look at the 240. And on the 240, not a great deal here. We could have a harmonic move. I think we looked at this, but it was it didn't come in at any form of structure. Let's take a look. We'll look left. Okay, 1, 2. Was there anything else? No. Okay. And it doesn't come into recent structure either, so there's not going to be anything here for me. Let's take a look at the 60. And okay, all we have here is a confirmed break below, close below. So I move lower. This was a breakout pattern just here. We moved lower, and once again we have now broken to the downside. So when we start seeing breakout patterns like this, it's just an indication that we're moving very directionally, as can be seen, and we could see the continuation of that directional movement, maybe down to the 6600 psychological number. Let's go and take a look at the 15. This wasn't a breakout pattern that I can trade, but it's looking like we are going to break out to the downside here. In fact, we've seen a pullback, indecision candle, lower, lower, lower close. You could see a continuation here to the downside. I'm not going to bother dropping to the 5. There's just the ATR just isn't big enough. So yeah, New Zealand dollar still looking short. We will wait and see if we get a breakout pattern that we can trade. So really we're going to be looking for a directional move, then we're going to be looking for a flag or a low and tight flag, whatever it may be. We may get something today, maybe tomorrow, but we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, the only problem here is that it is going to come into that 6600 psychological number. And this is where I would expect targets to come. So maybe, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see on the New Zealand dollar. Any questions on that one, guys? If not, we will make the dollar yen the last one. Make this the last one, and we were looking at a potential flag pattern here. You can see it's been busted. Looks like there's a double top now in a 26.18. We will take a look from the dailies first of all. Potential bear cipher, euro dollar. Okay, let's just go and take a look at that. It's on the dailies though, is it? On the dailies. Okay, is this valid? Let's have a look. Well, it's close. Do we hit the 127? Yes, we do. Do we close below a 61.8 fib though? If I'm honest, it looks like we do. Yes, we do. So this would invalidate the cipher pattern. So right here we've closed below the 61.8. So it would have looked X to A to B, B to C, CD completion would have been there, but because we closed below the 61.8, that pattern is invalid. So good eye, but the ratios did not match, and with this being a fibs based pattern, we need to ensure the fib ratios are met. So just to confirm, for this B point just here, we cannot have it close beyond the 61.8, though it can spike past it, but not close beyond the 61.8. And we cannot touch the 78.6 with the spike either. So that would invalidate the pattern for me. So no daily pattern there. Just consolidation for me on that one. Dollar yen then. This is going to be the last one, isn't it, guys? Okay, we are within this big wick. We know typically when we see big spikes like this, we usually end up retesting the lows. Right now, the market is not telling us that. Instead, it's telling us that we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, and then we violated just here. This level violated this structure level, so there would be no continuation for me here. We saw a pullback, and now we're seeing a move higher. On Friday we put in an indecision candle, but there is no RSI oversold or overbought. And psychological numbers, well, we do have a psychological number, but it's all the way up here at the 109 flat at this upper structure level here and this resistance level just here. So if I was to make a prediction, it would be that we're going to come up a little higher. Let's look at the 240. And this is very ugly, guys. Very ugly here. So move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, and then we violated to the upside just here. So let's go and take a look at the 60. Okay. Here on the 60, I'm going to put a structure level in at the close of the candles and at the highs of the wicks. And right here, there is a double top. We have broken and closed below the V point just here. And we're now pulling back for a 26.18 trade. So 26.18 traders, if that's a strategy that you trade, well, then you have an at market sell. Concerns for me is that double top didn't occur at the highs up here. And the retracement just here has come into well, we've already violated that level, to be honest. So we violated past this level. The next area I would expect price to come to is this level just here. So I'd be a little bit cautious as to where we can take targets on this. If you're getting involved now, stops go an ATR above the left shoulder, which would be 7, give you 82. Right, that would only get you at the equal high to this second test, so I would need to be behind that, and I would only be looking for a test down here. So for me personally, I'd have an inverse reward to risk here, and the double top hasn't really formed at the area where I would expect price to turn, but nevertheless it is a confirmed double top that has happened. In fact, here on the 240, you can see that we have not as yet come down to retest that structure level. So if it's valid for you, it's a 26.18. For me personally, it's not going to be an opportunity I can take. Cody's in the 26.18. Very good. Good luck on that. Conservative entry off the 15-minute with a double top entry. So you're looking at this right here. So you've entered on the 2618 based on the bigger 2618, the double top entry. Right, so I see what you've done. You use the 2618 as the entry, and then you've used the double top as the entry. Okay, so you're going to have a small amount of risk here then. You're going to have something like this, and depending where your targets are, you're going to be looking for either maybe a retest of this lower level or even a little bit further down. Harry says, hey Chris, I just want to say I really appreciate for taking your time to share your review of the market and helping us to learn and profit. Thanks again. You're welcome, Harry. You're welcome. Harry's a fairly new addition to the chat, so welcome. Glad you're enjoying it, Harry. So that's what Cody's in. He's in short the double top. You could actually wait for a little bit more confirmation here. So you could wait for this to be a confirmed double top, because as you can see here, this level just here, this spike was the lowest V point of the double top. So if we get a confirmed break below, close below that level, you could then look for a 2618 trade, just to give you a little bit more confirmation. Anything else on the dollar yen, guys? Anything else on the dollar yen? And my YouTube's frozen again. Just let me refresh it. Okay, Cody is take profit at the 127 extension right before the 108.30. 108.30. You're looking at this for the 127. Yep. Just before the 108.30 level, just here. Yep. Best of luck, Cody. You've got maybe 30 pips there. Would be a nice start if you was able to get yourself 30 pips on a Monday. Very nice. Anything else? Dollar CAD is not worth talking about. Okay guys, is there any other questions? Okay, take care Cody. Thank you everybody for joining me. I will be seeing you on the next webinar or in the chat.